Hi guys, welcome to my flipped classroom reflection. I'm a chemistry teacher at Owen County High School that really wanted to try out this flipped classroom. I'm a real gadget person and I really like technology, and I also really liked the concept of students getting the lecture and the part that note taking and things like that outside of the classroom and getting help on the actual problems in the classroom. I have children of my own, and I always hate when they bring something home and I have no idea how to help them with it, and I know that parents feel that way about chemistry as well. So I really think the flipped classroom is a very great concept to give a shot in the chemistry classroom. So I did one unit. It was our most difficult unit. I decided to flip on bonding, and I'm just going to show you how I went about doing that. I would definitely do it all over again, especially now that I know how to use some of the different technologies and how the students responded and so on. So I'm definitely going to keep flipping in my classroom and just improve it for the next year. So enjoy. I hope your flipped classroom goes well as well. So this was my original plan. We all have teacher websites for Owen County, and I was going to set up a flipped classroom and have blogs and have the assignments posted and all the files and links, and that was all very worthwhile, but it ended up taking a lot of time, and as we all know, time is one thing many of us do not have. I also found that when I was trying to do the assignments down here, something about School Point, which is the program that at least our county uses and many do, got really messed up when I tried to put the videos in. This is actually 2 videos. It worked perfectly the first time and it never worked correctly again. So I finally gave up working on that and trying to make that work, and just moved on to Explain Everything. This is Explain Everything. Oh, I'm sorry. It's $2.99, not $1.99. So it's definitely worth the $3 that it costs, but I wanted you to see what the icon looks like in case you would like to give it a shot in the App Store. From my experience in working at the workshop this summer, it seems to do a lot of the simple things that Camtasia does, just the very basic, very basic. But Screencast-O-Matic that you use on the computer, this also seemed to me to do many of the functions that Screencast-O-Matic will, and all you really need to do is download it and then do the tutorial. It shows you how to use each one of the buttons on the side, and probably takes less than 5 minutes, and you're pretty much an expert with the program, and at least for my purposes could do anything that I wanted to do. So I found that just keeping things simple was the best way to go. I just posted each one of my lessons on YouTube and then sent my students a YouTube link through Remind 101. So it's actually called Remind now. If you go to remind.com, you can set up your classroom and it will text students without them having to give you their personal information. So once I finished doing the presentation in Explain Everything, I could easily click a button, upload it to my YouTube channel, send out that link, and then we were good to go. So I made sure to start each lesson with the goals, and then I would follow that with our notes, and I'll show you what that looks like on the next page. So here are our notes. You'll notice that I have written right here. I had the notes on my screen in Explain Everything, and as I was saying, atoms rarely exist in nature alone. They are held together by different types of chemical bonds, and whatever I was speaking, I then would take one of those pens or my finger if I was on the go and just write out the notes along with the students so I could pace myself. I'm doing it again now, but it looks horrible. And they seem to respond well to that because it does make me go at a good pace for them. It allows me to underline things, to circle things, to draw arrows toward things, whatever I need to do. They had a copy of the notes, by the way. I just gave them one packet for the entire unit, and each lesson I just chunked into about 10 to 15 minutes. Most of them thought 15 minutes was too long, but 10 minutes seemed to be okay. So I would shoot, if I were you trying to figure out how to do your timing, I would not go over, 10 minutes. Some of mine were 15, and it just had to be because this had a lot of information in this unit. And so lastly, you'll notice I've got bonding notes 4 and 3 and 2 and my original one. So each little chunk I just uploaded to my own YouTube channel. And then again, I would just click on the YouTube video and do share and send the link out to my students on Remind 101. I usually gave them 2 to 3 days turnaround time. That means I tried to give them advance warning that they were going to need to say have bonding notes 2 done by, Tuesday. I would maybe tell them that Friday before so that they could try to make sure to get that in. We did not do a video every day. We just did one every 2 to 4 days. When they got back in the classroom, we would do a lab. Since it's chemistry, we would either do a lab or we would do practice problems just like you would do in math. As far as the results go, it was very mixed. My very independent students really liked it. My not so independent students really wanted to be spoon-fed, and they did not appreciate doing work outside of the classroom, and they said they liked the live person better. So it really was just a right down the middle split on how the students responded. So here's a screenshot of Remind 101. I still call it that. It's now just remind.com. If you haven't set that up for your classes, I would highly recommend it anyhow so that you can send out reminders about tests and quizzes. You can now send files. I tend to send out study guides and things like that, even pictures that we take as a class and so on. And it goes to their text message. So it even works for kids and parents that don't have smartphones. You'll notice on here, I have each lesson, I have put the link to YouTube, and it was very simple for them. Anything that requires logging in, I looked at some different things that the students would have to have a login and a password, and I knew that would not get done because I know how adults are, much less children. So more simple equals better. They could just get this Remind 101 text from me, click the link, and there they are watching the video. They could watch it on the way to church, on the way to practice or games, or all the many things that they do outside of school, and be able to get that done. You'll notice I also put time frames in there when different parts were due, how long to give themselves, and down here at the bottom, it's kind of hiding it right now. Let me see if I can move it up. And I even put on there what they would need to be able to do, okay, in case I wanted them to make sure to pay special attention to something. An accountability piece as well that I made sure to try to include every time was a quiz or something to hold them accountable the next day, or else it was not going to get done. So for the most part, I did have participation in the outside assignment. So in conclusion, I highly recommend, since we only have 24 hours in a day, and a lot of the programs that are out there for flipped classrooms, the software are very fantastic. They have all sorts of features. I personally did not have the time to invest in learning to use all of those really professional features, and found Explain Everything to be the easiest and most simple software for me to use. And it was great that it was on the iPad or the iPhone. There were times, if you actually looked at any of my videos on my YouTube channel, that I was in different places using my telephone to do the lesson for the night, because we have a very active life, and so it worked well on my end. I was able to do my videos anywhere and get them ready and loaded up for the kids, and it worked well for the kids because YouTube is pretty much a universally accessible thing that children have. They don't need anything special. They've already, got that set up if they do have their own YouTube channel. And if they don't, it's a public video, and so it's no big deal. Very, very simple. Keep it simple. In my case, we did notes outside of the classroom. I teach chemistry, a little bit different than math, so we did the notes in all of the videos that I would usually do in class. Many of them actually did like that better because they could stop the video if they needed more time. If they didn't understand something I was saying, they could rewind it and go back and see if they could maybe digest that a little bit better. Keep it around 10 minutes. Anything longer than that, you're going to lose them. Most likely, they're not going to be very committed to that, I found. My 15-minute long ones, I noticed the participation and sticking with it to the end was a little bit less. I made sure, this last part here, I made sure to try to have a quiz for accountability purposes. So do something to hold them accountable, because it is human nature to prioritize and to not do things if we are not going to be held accountable for those things. So do make sure that you somehow include an accountability piece. Mine was just usually about 5 to 6 questions, and during the video I would tell them this is one of the things that will be on your quiz tomorrow, so that if they did watch it, they were certain to perform well on that. And then we usually did a lab or more practice. And as I said earlier, just like in the traditional classroom, when we did the student survey, some of the students loved it and did well, and others did not love it so well and said they really did not learn as much as they do in the traditional classroom. So all in all, I'm definitely going to keep doing this. It is fantastic for snow days. You'll notice if you look in my remind slide, the last slide, that some of those we were actually out for snow, and class just went on pretty much. It's great because we have a lot of interruptions in our school day and in our school year, and students are gone and they're absent. And so in those cases, I can just send them the link or say, hey, go to my YouTube page and find the video that goes with this, and make sure that you get caught up. So it makes it very simple to keep everybody on the same page and caught up. So I'm definitely going to continue to use the flipped classroom concept. I'm probably going to go back to that teacher webpage and have links to labs that people miss. In fact, if you go to my webpage, you'll see I've already started doing that in some cases. So that's it for me. I hope that you have a great experience in your flipped classroom. I have put my email down at the bottom of this screen for you. Please feel free to email me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions about my experiences, especially with the technology. That seemed to be the piece for me that was the hardest, just working through the different technologies. I worked with Screencast-O-Matic the most, other than create or explain everything, and so I could maybe help you out with that as well. So good luck. I hope it goes well, and have a great school year.